AJ, Joe, Raul, how are you doing today?
Good.
Pretty good.
Good.
Thank you for
Hanging in
having
there.
me.
All right,
Yep. Hanging in there.
good.
Long
Hoping-
day.
Same. Hope I didn't forget anyone. So it is now 6:34. It is now 6:35, and I want to welcome everyone to the Bronx Community Board 7's Veterans Committee. I am the chair of the committee, Chad Royer, and I want to thank you all for showing up today. We also have our Vice Chair, Helene Red, who is also going to help me out at this meeting today. So we're going to start with the meeting guidelines as I share the screen. And Helene, if you can so kindly help me with that portion.
Yes, I will.
Let me know if you can see it. Okay,
It's too far up, Chad.
let's try it again.
Okay. No, it's not popping up. Oh, gosh. No, it's coming too big where I can't see it, Chad. All I see, okay, now I can see half of it. Too big, all right,
Is this good?
that's fine.
Great. First time I'm being able to share on this computer. Thanks to Hugo. He saved the day. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Helene Red. I'm the Vice Chair of the Veterans Committee. This is the Bronx Community Board Veterans Committee. The agenda is as follows. On January the 20th, 2023, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 315 extending the state of emergency through February the 19th, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the video conference law, chapter 56 of the laws of 2022, part WW. This allowed the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on the conference controls while joining from landline or cell by calling dial-up number. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone. *6, mute or unmute yourself. *9, virtually raise your hand. How will we run this meeting is as follows. Chad, move it up. Code of conduct for meetings, penalties and action. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engaged in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or languages, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban of the participant. The amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committees in the event of repeated destructive behavior. If in a person's outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing and the authority shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raise hand button on your screen, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the items after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. By pressing the raise hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting. Granted, there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comments portion, the committee will begin their discussion after each presentation / agenda item will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to the meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now or contact the deputy district manager.
Thank you. Thank you, Helene. So I want to go over the roll call. So Helene, would you like to do the roll call of the board members real fast?
Yes. Chad Boyer,
Present.
Eileen Red, present. Hugo, I'm saying it right? I'm saying the attendance names right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I forgot Hugo's name. I'm sorry, last name. I'm sorry.
Hugo Gonzalez,
Hugo Gonzalez. Thank you, Hugo.
present.
Jean Hill,
Jean's not on.
and it's at, I'm sorry, I'm bad with name.
Yeah, Helene, Emmanuel is here.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, present.
Thank you. So we have quorum.
We have a quorum.
Now
So
we're about to go over, we're about to go over and review previous minutes. Did anyone have a chance to look over the minutes? Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I've seen the minutes.
Yeah, little correction down there. I think the last sentence that says we will be addressing something on the February meeting. I think supposed to be March meeting, right? All the way down.
Yeah, that's a typo.
Yeah. So,
That's a typo.
right.
So I move to approve the
Other
minutes
than
with
that,
the
I think
corrections.
it's good. And then I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Minutes approved.
All right, thank you. Next, we are at the follow-ups. Helene, you want to take it away?
I don't have I couldn't print my agenda out, so I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing, Chad. I couldn't print.
Okay,
I tried last night. You're gonna have to take it. I tried.
okay. So we have some follow-ups now. Is there anyone on the call from Fordham Village? Anyone from Fordham Village? No? Anyone from Kingsbridge Terrace? No? Anyone from DVS? No one from DVS? Anyone from the VA? Sean Kingston was supposed to get on, so maybe we can get an update from him when he gets on the call, so we can circle back to that. Next, we're going to go over new business, where
My phone, Chad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we're going to cover new business. And we have a guest from Volunteers of Legal Services, Peter Kempner, who is the legal director. I want to thank you for showing up today, and I'm going to give you the floor. So welcome.
Thanks so much, Chad, and good evening, everybody. Let me actually go ahead and see if I could share my screen. Are folks seeing my PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So like Chad said, I'm Pete Kettner. I am the legal director here at Volunteers of Legal Service. And I want to tell everybody a little bit about our organization and the work that we do specifically for veterans. We're a relatively small legal services organization. We only have about 25 people from our front desk to our ED, but we have a huge impact because we are able to tap into volunteer attorneys from some of the biggest law firms here in New York City. And one of the project I really want to highlight here today is our senior law project, which has been around for decades, where we focus on doing wills, powers of attorney, healthcare proxies, and other advanced directives for low-income seniors. And about 4 or 5 years ago, we launched a special veterans initiative to focus that work for older veterans here in New York City. Folks might have heard me say hi to Joe Bello before. Joe and I go way back. I've personally been a legal services attorney for over 2 decades, but I've been providing legal services for veterans for about 10 years now, both here at Volunteers of Legal Service and my prior organization. And I also teach the Veterans Clinic at New York Law School. And so, I've been deeply invested in making sure that veterans have access to free legal services. The work that we do here is really focused on older veterans, but I'll highlight a couple of other projects as well. But just to do kind of a real rapid fire overview of the work that we do for older veterans focused on end of life and incapacity planning. Like I said, we prepare all these documents for veterans who are age 60 and over, live in the 5 boroughs, have low income and limited resources. And actually our income and resource levels are much higher for veterans than they are for civilian seniors. And the reason why we have higher levels for veterans is what we want to make sure that more veterans are able to access our services, but most importantly, veterans who are 100% service connected disabled are able to access our services. Our standard is 200% of the federal poverty level, and when you look at 100% service connected veteran, they're at 300% of the federal poverty level. So we want to make sure that we're not cutting off veterans who sacrifice the most in service to their country. So that is a little bit about kind of our eligibility criteria. But we do this work focusing on end of life and incapacity planning because we get these calls from folks who are concerned about what happens to their body and making sure that after they pass away that they get the funeral, the cremation, or whatever it is that's in line with their wishes. They want to make sure that whatever belongings they have are left to the people that they want that to go to. They want to make sure that if they get so sick that they're unable to make their own healthcare decisions, that they're able to pick the person that they trust the most to step into their shoes. We get calls from folks who are concerned, if they get so sick that they can't pay their bills, that they're worried about being institutionalized, not being able to stay in the community. So these are the questions that our clients and their loved ones and their caregivers reach out to us for. And what we want to do is make sure that they have all of the tools that they need in their toolbox to be able to make their wishes clear, make sure that the people that they love and trust the most are able to carry out their wishes, and really be able to stay in the community for as long as possible. And we do this through a culturally competent, military and veteran culturally competent lens. All of the attorneys that we work with here are VA accredited. We're familiar with benefits and programs that veterans are able to tap into. And that doesn't mean that we do those kind of cases. I always like to say that us lawyers were like doctors, right? Sometimes you need a podiatrist and sometimes you need a brain surgeon. So we don't provide comprehensive legal services. We really focus on this end of life and incapacity planning. But we do that in a way where we're able to tap into other resources with other legal services providers So even if a veteran comes to us with a different issue, we're able to point them in the right direction. And you know, I know that we have limited time tonight, and I'm not going to go into my full presentation going through these documents, but I just wanted everybody to see, and I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with Chad so we can share it with the group. You know, what we do beyond actually drafting and executing these documents, we do a lot of public education around this as well. We're happy to come to, you know, community boards, but also work with elected officials, work with community-based organizations, and come and speak to folks about why this is important, what the documents are, what is a healthcare proxy, what is a living will, what is a power of attorney, what do those documents look like, and why are they important, and how they could be used to ensure that folks' wishes are clear again and they're able to stay in the community. So, you know, we do this public education work as well, because sadly, only about a third of people have these advanced directives. And, you know, many low-income people think that this isn't for them because they don't have, you know, a lot of funds and a lot of wealth to pass on to the next generation. But what's important for us is not about passing on your stuff to the next generation. What's important for us is making sure that our clients get the care that they need while they're alive, and that they're able to stay in the community. So beyond the presentation, we have pamphlets and online and physical pamphlets about planning for the future. And so this is a very quick overview of the work that we do. Here's our contact information for our Veterans Initiative for veterans who want to be able to take advantage of these services. And I don't have a slide about this, but I want to plug another project that we have, which is our micro enterprise project, which focuses on the legal needs of small businesses. And we actually have some funding to do specific outreach to veteran-owned micro entrepreneurs and small business owners. And so in that work, we help veteran small business owners comply with the law, really, right? If they need help forming a legal entity, you know, corporate structure, helping them draft, you know, operating agreements, and helping them with employment issues and tax issues, cybersecurity for online businesses, issues related to commercial leases. We also provide those services as well. And so to the extent that the community board and the Veterans Committee of the community board is working with veteran-owned business owners, we're happy to talk to those folks as well and help provide them with services. So with that, I think that is my last slide. I will stop sharing and I'm happy to answer any questions folks have. I see Elaine has raised her hands.
Yes, I just have one question. Is there a fee for them to do that, or they can do that with you guys free?
Absolutely free. All of our services are free. You know, that's assuming folks are eligible. You know, certainly we encounter some folks who are over income and over resources for our services. But like I said, we really set the bar high for veterans. Really, as long as a veteran is making less than, I think we're at around $55,000 or $56,000 a year, they'll qualify for our services. Got to live in the 5 boroughs, got to be, you know, at least for the end of life planning stuff, age 60 and over. But for veteran-owned small businesses, it's actually a little higher, probably $60,000, $70,000. As long as they're making less than that, they'll qualify for our services for free.
Last question. Do you have any literature to share in that on this stuff?
Yeah, so again, like I said, I mean, I'll share my slide deck with Chad, which kind of goes through each of the documents, gives our contact information, also has links to this brochure that we have called Planning for the Future, which is kind of pocket size thing, but also available in PDF for folks to learn more about why this stuff is important.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, Raul, you had a question?
So yes, I do. Peter, question regarding those veterans who are disabled. If a person is disabled, if a veteran is disabled, where you meet them at their home or their,
Yeah.
nursing home if they need to?
Absolutely, we do home visits all the time, folks who are in the hospital, whatever it is. If a veteran's unable to travel to our office or one of the volunteer attorneys that we're working with, we will come to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first off, I want to thank you for coming to Bronx Community Board 7. Actually, the way I ran into you was when you were presenting at another meeting, and I immediately thought that this would be a great service to our veterans who may not know and understand what these needs are. So I guess my question is, would this be something that you'd be able to do if I was able to connect you with some of our residence buildings? Like, for example, we have Kingsbridge Terrace and we have Fordham Village that's right in the neck of our woods. They could benefit from this information if we were to do some kind of, I guess, presentation or a visit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do, both virtual presentations and in-person presentations. And I don't know if those buildings are veteran residences only or they're mixed.
They are.
Just veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to do that. We'll come out, we do our public education piece, we'll bring intake materials for folks who are interested and might qualify, won't necessarily do it on the spot. This is something, this is a tough subject for some people, right? Especially some older veterans, disabled veterans. You got to kind of really face your mortality in doing this stuff. So, we give them the information, we give them information on how to get in touch, and then we're there for them.
Right.
So yeah, please reach out. Happy to talk about scheduling something.
I definitely will. And I had another question. I actually reached out to you offline on this, and I'm just curious because the unfortunate thing is that veterans, whether they disclose or not, sometimes they do get discriminated against. And I want to link this to a matter of if someone has a disability and let's say they try to get a comfort animal, a comfort support animal, would your organization be able to help someone go further if they suspect any kind of discrimination and they were in the age bracket of 62 or above?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the most lawyer answer, and that's maybe. Like I said before, we do this focus on end of life and incapacity planning. Sometimes we take on other cases, depending on our own capacity to do that, and depending on the situation. Beyond this, we give advice and counsel on a lot of different legal issues. But like I said, we're the podiatrist, and sometimes somebody needs a brain surgeon. And so, we don't have expertise in everything. But, that kind of housing issue might be something that we'd be interested in. So, I want to set expectations low and hope to exceed them. So we're happy to talk to somebody, but I don't want you to say, oh, call these folks, they'll definitely represent you. But we're happy to have that initial conversation. If it's something that we can help with, we'll try to point them in the right direction to another free legal services provider that might.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you. One other question that I want to bring up as well, since I have you on, I noticed that one of the hardest things for folks to do is to form a tenant association. And this is something that I have fought tooth and nail to try to help some of our residences. Would you have a conduit where if somebody wants to at least know how to get started, that they can direct them?
Not off the top of my head, but I think if I thought about it and talked to a couple of folks here, I probably would.
Okay.
We don't put together tenant organizations, tenant associations, but I know some other legal services providers that do. Particularly, I'm just thinking local for you all, Bronx Legal Services, and I don't know if you've tried to connect with them, but they do some tenant organizing there.
One on Heath Avenue?
I forget where they're
I
located.
think it's Heath Avenue.
Yeah. So I don't know if it sounds like you might have tried and hit a brick wall with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, sadly, so many of the legal services providers are really tapped out, right? There's so much need, and especially in the housing world, there's just, with the post-pandemic lift of, the eviction moratorium and all of that, they're just swamped. And so they have a hard time taking on new things. If the issue is like, what is the legal structure they need? Do they need, the form of corporation or something like that? You can tell I'm ignorant about this stuff. That might be actually something our micro enterprise project could look at and give some advice on. So, open to it, but not making any promises.
got you. Understood. Any other committee members have any questions? Anyone? Okay, so Peter, grateful to have you. You're welcome to join our meetings. We hold them once every month, typically the third Wednesday. The door is always open, and we will speak offline in an effort to try to link you to other opportunities where we can share.
Yeah.
We actually do have an event coming up in May, a flagging event for Bronx Victory Memorial. I'll send that information to you, so you'll be more than welcome to attend. That'll also be a great opportunity to meet some folks who may be interested and engaged in the mission.
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Like I said, I'll send you my deck so you can share it around, and feel free to share my contact information with folks.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for the time. Have a good evening.
All right. You too. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care, everybody.
So next on the agenda, we have archival project follow-ups with Pastor Crespo, who represents the Bronx Historical Society. Now, last month, you came and reintroduced yourself to the board, spoke to us on some initiatives that you're working on, and I want to find out what kind of updates you have thus far.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Chad. And thank you, everyone, for, taking a break and listening to the Bronx County Historical Society. I do have a couple of updates. And, first, just kind of let everyone know the mission of the Bronx County Historical Society is, foremost to collect, document, and preserve the histories of Bronx for Bronxites. So with that said, one of our big initiatives that's going to begin in July that I'm pushing forward, and I've already actually conducted one oral history, is the Bronx Veterans Archival Initiative. And this initiative is an archival initiative to document the lives and experience and sacrifices of Bronx veterans. I placed a flyer in the chat along with my contact information for everyone. The project's objective is to capture the unique stories and experience of these Bronxites, not only in service to the nation, but in service to the Bronx. Our definition of Bronx veterans is wide. We definitely want to include family members who toil right alongside, if not sometimes harder, and sacrifice as much, with the veteran. We also want to highlight Bronxites that are civilians that dedicate their lives, to veterans. We want to make sure it's, a complete 360 degrees. And, if I'm leaving anyone out, if there are any ideas, please share it with me. I know with the help of members here on this board, I was able to reach out to an 84-year-old veteran, U.S. Navy veteran, Vietnam combat veteran who served alongside, He was a combat medic who's, and as everyone knows, Marines don't have medics. Those are US Navy corpsmen. And, you know, he served the community here in the Bronx, most notably the Williamsbridge Oval skate park, that he was a big initiator and a big, go ahead, Chad.
Doug? Was
Yes,
it Doug?
yes, it's a Mr. Doug Condit. I don't want to go and, release the individual's name, but yeah, Mr. Doug Condit opened up his home to me. I went over and conducted about a 45-minute oral history with him. Very interesting gentleman. It's gonna, we're gonna process the oral history. We're gonna make sure it's available for everyone, to the public to look at. We're gonna make sure it's indexed and transcribed for researchers. But that's, the project is gonna kick off in July, but I won't hesitate to take the opportunity if there are candidates willing, and there's a need to record your oral history. Now I'm gonna move forward with it. So with that said, around next year, what I want to do is I want to highlight compilations of clips of oral histories and do an oral history screening at the Museum of Bronx History, and open that exhibit up and hopefully have some documentation and some photos to share. Just like on June 17th, 2023 of this year, we are going to host the Bronx Graffiti Arts exhibit and street jam at the Valentine Varian House grounds, which houses the Bronx, the Museum of Bronx History. Come on by, spread the word. What we're going to do is we're going to showcase the artwork of 2 high schools that we're working with, and I'll have more details in the future. We're going to highlight the student graffiti art. It's going to have an anti-gun violence theme to it. So we're probably going to have around 40 to 50 works of art for students at that exhibit. We're also gonna have a compilation of oral histories of pioneers of graffiti. We've already recorded over 10 oral histories with graffiti pioneers such as Butch 2, Staff 161. In the graffiti world, those names are big and mean a lot. A lot of these artists are immigrants, African-American, Caribbean immigrants, Latino immigrants, and it's we're going to show their creativity. We're also going to host Johnson's Barbecue, one of the oldest African-American restaurants here in the Bronx. We're going to cater to the public. Hopefully we can coax some people inside and look at the exhibit. We're also going to have DJ Tall Guy Productions jamming some 1980s and early 90s hip hop. All of this is in commemoration of the 50 years of hip hop. And what better way, than to the very first element of hip hop and the oldest element being graffiti. So we want to invite you guys again. That's June 17th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the grounds of the Valentine Varian House, 3266 Bainbridge Avenue, at the entrance to the Williamsbridge Oval Park.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to helping in the mission of trying to get those social stories on board so that they can be around. Because the important thing, you even mentioned this, once our heroes are gone, so does the story goes.
Exactly. So, like I said, if there's a need, the Veterans Project doesn't start until July. We'll, kick off fully. But if there's a need for me to go out, and go to someone's location and record that oral history, I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. So any committee members, any questions? Any questions from anyone? Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
We're going to go to the next part of the agenda. where we have VA coalitions and outreach initiatives for suicide prevention. And I believe we have one of our leaders, Raul, who is one of the spearheaders of some of our initiatives for suicide prevention. So would you like to tell us what's going on?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Most of you know me already. My name is Raul Gonzalez, and I'm the Veterans Affairs Liaison at Union Community Health Center. And I'm here to talk about not the health center, but about the coalitions that the VA is now forming or has formed in order to prevent suicides. The biggest fact that we have, and is the strongest information that we could provide, is that every day there are 17 veterans who die because of suicide. And that is 17 veterans too many. So the idea from the VA's perspective is they want to involve the public, they want to involve the communities, they want to involve whomever they can to help those veterans get the help, the proper help, so that they avoid having to go to the last step. So at the Bronx VA, there is what they call the Community Engagement and Partnerships Coordination Office. And that office is tasked with bringing together as many organizations and people, general public, to their coalitions so that they could, one, educate the public, but also educate veterans into ensuring that they get the help that they can, that they are entitled to and they can get. Based on studies, those 17 veterans who commit suicide, 10 out of those 17 veterans may have been entitled to get services at the VA, but never sought to get them. And that is sad because the help is there. And they just weren't able to get it either because they didn't know about it or because they just didn't have the social support to get it. So at this time, we have 6 coalitions that are formed. One of them, I'm going to give all the names of the coalitions that are part of the Suicide Coalition program, I guess, at the VA. We have the Bronx Student Veterans Coalition. We have the Project Brave Coalition, which is a coalition to help homeless veterans in the Bronx seek help. We have the Bronx Hospitals Coalition. We have the Bronx Arts-Based Healing Coalition. That's for Pastor. We have the Bronx BIPOC Coalition. So it's like Person of Colors Coalition. And then we are opening up a new one on March 28th, and that's for the families and caregivers of veterans. So we want to involve everyone who has contact with veterans to educate them of the fact that veterans are dying because of suicide on a daily basis. We want to educate them that there is help, not only in the VA, but in the community. And you know, the idea is we want to provide all the help we can get, but the fact is that we have, there are studies, there's research, and there are facts that the people who go from ideation to attempts will not go and end their life if they have the proper social support and medical support. And then those who usually go from ideation to attempts and eventually a suicide are those who are isolated, who are using substances, and who have really intense PTSD. And PTSD is one of those diagnoses and illnesses that can get help through the VA. So we want to let everyone know that the coalitions are there. We can provide, you know, guidance, we could provide assistance, but we also want to be a meeting place so that everyone can come and get the information to disseminate to other veterans who may or may not be at risk, but we want to let them know that we exist and that we are here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you for sharing that info. Committee members, does anyone have any questions? No questions, no comments? Members on the call, does anyone have any questions or comments? Thank you. Thank you. So I want to circle back. So I believe we have, is Sean Kingston on the call? I thought I saw him somewhere. Sean, if you're there.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Hi, Sean. How are you? How's everything?
Pretty good. Can't complain. How are you?
Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. So I just wanted to find out from your side, from the VA, if you had any updates that you wanted to bring forth to us.
Right. So as always, thank you guys so much for having me. So a few months ago, I'm not sure if you all recall, I actually came on to speak a bit about the PAC Act. So just to rewind, in August of 2022, last year, that is, the president signed into law the PAC Act. So there are actually three components to the PAC Act. There's the infrastructure phase, which means all VAs will be going through a modernization from our IT, from our medical record system, to our interior infrastructure. As a matter of fact, at my facility here in the Bronx, we'll be breaking ground pretty shortly on a multi-layer parking complex. There's also a retention and hiring phase to the PAC Act. The goal of the PAC Act with the hiring phase is to also hire the brightest and the smartest to better service our veterans. In the coming years, the VA will be going through a transformation where we'll see a vast majority of our workforce, or high percentage that is, retire or move on. It's a part of the PAC Act. It's to basically prepare us for the future with retention, sign-on bonus, performance bonus, et cetera, et cetera. And there's also the toxic screening, which I want to basically touch base on. So the toxic screening basically means that if any vet were exposed to burn pits, whether they serve in Iraq, Afghanistan, any period, they could actually file a claim at the VA and receive monetary compensation. In order to actually file that claim, each vet needs to go through a toxic screening. These screenings are actually non-invasive. It needs to be done by one of our providers. It's a questionnaire. In the event any vet answer any questions related to any toxic screening, we're actually working closely with our VBA sister agency, our state agency, to assist veterans with filing those claims. To date, we've actually screened hundreds of veterans at our facility at the Bronx VA and thousands nationwide. What I want to touch base with our community boards and all our veterans community partners is that we need your assistance to actually get the word out. In the coming weeks and months, we'll be out in the community along with myself, our mobile van, our medical team. We have several outreaches set up with the colleges next week. For example, we have Westchester Community College in Westchester. We have Mercy College, and we're actually looking to partner with other colleges to conduct these screenings. We're also looking to host an open house sometime in April, we're actually working on the flyer to get the word out. But what we need from our community boards is to actually reach out to our veterans to basically encourage and inform them of the PAC Act. I can send you guys all the literature related to the PAC Act, answer any questions related to the PAC Act. It's estimated in the coming years, we can see an influx of over 4 to 6 million new vets to register, enroll in VA, take advantage of the services and benefits. The overall goal of the PAC Act for our veterans is to ensure they get the monetary compensation, but also the medical attention they so richly deserve. So it's an all collaborative, all hands on deck team effort. We need your assistance. I see Joe Bello on the call. I brief Joe Bello a lot related to the PAC Act, but we need your assistance to actually get the word out to the veterans community related to the PAC Act. So in the coming days and weeks, Chad, I'll be in touch with you to get any flyer publications related to the PAC Act. And again, any vet can actually come into our facility, walk in, 5 days a week between 8 and 4 o'clock and get those screenings. Screenings, again, they're non-invasive. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. In the event they answer yes again to any one of those questions, we have the staff to actually assist with getting them enrolled, get primary care doctors, or also file a claim for any monetary compensation with the VA. So again, thank you guys so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. And on one of the things that you just mentioned, Helene and I are going to get in contact with you to meet up to do some canvassing on that matter.
Mhm.
And in fact, Raul, I think you might have a free day next week, I believe, right?
I will
Or-
find one for you.
We'll find one. Okay, good. So Sean, we're gonna try to get that out there. And if anyone on this call is willing to take part, a lot of vets, I want to say, may not completely understand what's entailed in the PACT Act. This is our opportunity to engage them. So I'm all in. And if anyone has any questions, please reach out to Mr. Kingston and let's spread the message. Thank you for sharing that, Sean.
Absolutely. Looking forward to working with you guys.
Thank
And
you.
thank you guys so much for having me as always.
Now, I have to ask you, do you happen to have a digital copy and hard copies as well?
Absolutely. I'll send it out to you first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Okay, good, good. Let us know when would be a good time to stop by, and we can arrange.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Anytime, Joe.
Any questions for Mr. Kingston? Okay, great. Thank you again. So let's take a look at the agenda. I believe we've gone through all the parts of the agenda. Next meeting date will be April 19th, 2023. I want to circle back on a couple of updates. I know we have the Bronx Victory Memorial events, the flagging that we had scheduled for May. Our date is going to be May 20. That's going to be a Saturday, May 20. And let me get so it's on Mashulu Parkway and Marion Avenue. We'll have a flyer out soon with the actual details, the time and all. We also have to get back to folks on when the Veterans Committee is going to do a trip to the cemetery to do flagging at the grave sites. We don't have a date yet. We're still working on it. We're looking at any time between May 20th and the 29th. Another update we had, I know a Veterans Resource Fair was briefly mentioned at a previous meeting. We are having some difficulty trying to get a space with the time. So one date that was entertained was June 3rd, but that's not set in stone. So we will have to get back to you as the days go on. Now, I see a hand. So I have Gonzalo Duran. He has his hand up. Gonzalo, welcome.
Hey everyone,
How are you?
good yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, I just wanted to bring up our golf event that we're doing on March 20. I believe it's the 20th, Sunday, March 26th. It's a military veteran and community golf event. It's free to the public, but we are accepting donations if anyone wants to. Be on the logo, or excuse me, on the flyer that's coming out next week.
Okay. You don't happen to have the flyer on you, right?
I can send it. That's not a problem. Can I send it through the chat here?
You can put it into the chat.
Yes, I'll put it in here. And then this is the one that we put out last week or 2 weeks ago. And the new one will be circulating next week with the updated in the organizations that are helping sponsor the event.
Okay.
But the golf program has been operational for This is our 9th year. The tournament wise is our, I think, our 7th year in the tournament wise, or 4th year. That I can't remember, but I've put it into the chat. And once again, it's a military veteran and community tournament. All are welcomed. We have the Bronx station commander that's going to be our special guest. He'll be walking around with me, introducing to the community members and those that are eager to speak to an active duty combat veteran.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right, thank-
that. So Hugo, I believe you have your hand up. Hugo,
Yes, Gonzalo's, where is this event gonna take place?
So our golf program is at Turtle Cove, 1 Turtle Cove Road. It's the Turtle Cove, excuse me, I apologize. 1 City Island Road, and it's held at the Turtle Cove Golf Center in City Island.
City Island?
Yeah, there's not golf courses in the Bronx, but we have 4 of them. They're just all located in that general area.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
thank you, Hugo. AJ, you have your hand up?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
up?
I just wanted to say I made a formal request to the board about putting up a pride flag at the Bronx Victory Monument. I noticed you said some events there. I believe it should be there for Don't Ask, Don't Tell to address the horrors of the past. Maybe could somebody from Vets can come to when I present next month at the Parks Committee? Thank you so much.
Okay, you're talking about the Parks Committee for April, right?
Yes, sir. I was told at the general board to go to the parks, but they said it's going to be next month. So if anybody wants to come out and support the gay vets, please let me know. Thank you.
I'll make it my duty to attend because I will be honest with you. I am not as well versed in that situation, so I would like to hear what has to be brought up.
From my understanding, if you love somebody of the same gender, you were kicked out no matter what happened. So address the horrors of the past, put up a pride flag. Thank you so much.
Got you. I'll be there. Thank you. Hugo, you is your hand still up or?
Sorry, I meant to lower it.
Okay, okay. Jean has her hand up. Jean, welcome.
Hi, sorry for coming so late. I thought I could get home earlier. In reference to what AJ was saying, they had a story on the news this week about a young woman who had joined the Navy, and they just stepped up to her one day and say, you're having a relationship with this other woman, and the woman lives at such and such, and they kicked this young woman out. She got a dishonorable discharge that she is still, and this goes back some 10, 12 years ago. She is still fighting to have that reversed. And they said because when they first stepped to her and asked her about it, she said no. And so they just branded her a liar instead of just saying, well, we shouldn't have asked you the question in the first place. So that's an important issue. And I'm glad that AJ brought that up because that is a very important issue. A lot of people got dishonorable discharges because they were found out to be, LBQ, and I know I'm getting it wrong, but you know what I mean. And they got kicked out of the armed services, no matter what branch they served in. And some of them are still trying to get back their honorable discharge because they are considered to be dishonorably discharged, which means they can't work as a police officer. A lot of jobs they are excluded from because of this situation, and that's just not right.
Got you. Do you happen to know where that article came from?
It was on Channel 2. So if you go to Channel 2 News, they did a feature this morning because I'm usually up early in the morning watching Channel 2 News. And they did a feature on Channel 2 about this one particular young woman, and she was in the Navy. And I don't think she served, she didn't even finish out the year before they kicked her out. And she has not been able to have that dishonorable discharge reversed and get back her anything. So a lot of jobs that she can't, civil service type jobs, she can't even apply for because she has that on her records.
Got you. I'm going to try to look that up. That would be, my opinion, that will probably be very helpful with what AJ had mentioned earlier. If we can produce that or reproduce that for the meeting or for folks to hear and watch. Thank you, Jean. Oh, is that it? Joe? I think Joe put it in the chat.
I did. It's in the chat.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Joe. Clutch.
No problem.
All right. So everyone click on it, save it so you can view it. All right. Gonzalo, you still have your hand up?
Yes, it was regarding to AJ's comment that he made. I know there's a lot of veteran organizations and the VA hospital there. Just so that people know, when it comes to veterans that were dishonorably discharged or had other than anything but honorable discharge, the VA has a new policy, the do acts, do tell. So what does that entail? That means obviously they have more open dialogue with the LGBT community, and also a lot of the care system that's provided. There's a LGBT department in the mental health department on the 3rd floor of the Bronx VA hospital. The goal over there is to open more dialogues with the LGBT community, allowing resources that have been denied for them um, because of their other than honorable service discharge. So they have been making progression to open more of the facilities, and in a capacity saying, we know you got in trouble because of that, so we're trying to help you on the sides. Now, the monetary benefits will take longer, but they also have programs in the VA, in the nonprofit world, and the civilian for fighting for your upgrades, which has been a lot more. I think the last 5 years, the numbers have increased exponentially. But the services on getting them is because it dies out. You know, when we started making the progression with the LGBT community, it was the flavor of the month, and then it's died out. But we try to bring up that information as much as we can. I put in a flyer for the 25th. We have an LGBT youth event. So we've opened that to the community. Normally when Devil Dog does an event, we try to cover the whole spectrum. So like, let's say we have domestic violence, we do elderly, animals, children, men, women, the same thing with the LGBT community. So it's geared for veterans, but it's open to the community because we have speakers that are non-military and whatnot. So I'm just throwing that out there as well.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you. So anyone else have other comments that they want to bring forth? Anyone? Kathleen just came back into the meeting. Kathleen, I don't know if you can hear us. Kathleen, can you hear us?
Yes. Did anyone else's screen freeze or get disconnected?
No, but I noticed that something happened to your screen, so I figured something happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might not have seen what was posted recently. AJ brought up a good point about an interesting point about the LGBTQ flags and the opportunity of presenting it at a future event. And an article was referenced about a news story where a Navy veteran was discharged over a sexual orientation.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right. So they shared the link. I don't know if you have it. Joe, could you reshare that link so that at least
The link is in the chat.
yeah, but she may not have gotten it.
Oh,
So it will have to be resent so that she gets it.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
Right.
I'm bookmarking it now. Yeah, I appreciate you pointing this out, because as someone who now is in a position to be able to talk to folks and have some influence with regards to decisions surrounding this, and as a member of the community myself, I think it's really important for accountability in general.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm not certain if you were on the call when Sean Kingston was speaking about the PACT Act. I don't know if you missed that, or did you get that?
I may have missed that part when I was losing service because I'm using my cell data and not Wi-Fi.
Okay. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll reach out to you because Mr. Kingston is going to be rolling out some additional information on the PACT Act where we want to reach out to more veterans. And
Okay.
your office will be very critical in helping that initiative. So we will be reaching out to you with that info.
Okay, I think we're a very, thank you for telling me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So give us about
Chad, briefly, what was the PACT Act?
the PACT Act was passed in August of last year, where it addresses any veteran who was a victim of any toxicities or burn pits. And I'm just paraphrasing, anyone can correct me. And it's an opportunity for a veteran to be compensated for what they've endured. They'll be subject to a screening, there'll be questions. They're being asked to come to the VA to get more information and see what services are available or what dues are available to them. That information, we will be getting the flyers. I'm going to share them with you so you can share with folks in Tracy Towers, and we can see how far we can take this.
Yeah, something has happened to your audio.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said?
I heard what you said, but it was starting to fade down.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So Sean Kingston will be providing documentation on the PACT Act and what we want to share with veterans, especially if they may have been exposed to toxicities while serving. They may be eligible for compensation and additional medical attention. So when those flyers come out, we'll share them with you. We'll send them digitally, and we'll also have some hard copies as well. All right. Got you. So anyone have any other comments before we wrap up this meeting? AJ, you're right. Both of them, Agent Orange and burn pits.
Chad, just mark me in, please.
Oh, as present, I got you. I got you. So on that note, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second the motion.
Okay. I want to thank you all for joining today. It is 7:37. Good meeting. We learned some stuff today. So everyone, have a good night. Take care and be well.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Night.
Good night, thank you. Everyone, please feel free to email me. I put my info in the chat.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Good night, Chad. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, Joe. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Chad, I'll catch up with you later on what I missed.
I got you. Yeah, just call me. I'm actually trying to end.